Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Look, if you're someone who trains regularly, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. You miss a few days at the gym, maybe a week, and suddenly, boom, you feel this massive wave of anxiety. You start genuinely believing that all your hard-earned gains are just, evaporating into thin air because life or burnout or maybe a random injury just temporarily derailed your routine. Well, today, we're going to completely dismantle that fear. We're looking at the hard science of what your body actually does when you step away from the weights.
So what really happens when you stop working out? It's honestly a universal experience. I mean, everyone totally panics after taking just 2 weeks off. You find yourself checking the mirror, flexing an arm, and imagining all sorts of muscle loss that honestly hasn't even happened yet. But what's actually going on beneath the surface? Nobody really talks about what happens as the clock ticks past those first few days, moving from week 1 to month 3, all the way to a full year of absolutely no training. Let's break down the actual biological timeline.
Here's where people get it totally twisted. They constantly confuse their bodily systems. When you hit that 2-week mark of zero training, your muscles are actually completely fine. Like, studies on trained individuals show literally zero significant muscle loss at 2 weeks. Your body's barely even flinching in that department. But your cardiovascular system? Okay, that is an entirely different story. While your muscles are just chilling, your cardio takes an immediate and very noticeable hit.
Get this. In less than 2 weeks, endurance athletes can actually see their VO2 max drop by around 7%. 7%. This is the exact reason why, after a short little vacation from the gym, you suddenly feel totally out of breath just walking up a standard flight of stairs. You immediately think, oh no, I'm losing all my muscle. But you aren't. You're just losing your cardio efficiency. And those are two very, very different things.
Now you might be thinking, hold on, my lifts feel way heavier when I come back after a couple of weeks, so my muscles have to be shrinking. Actually, no, they really aren't shrinking yet. What's happening is that your nervous system is essentially just taking a nap. See, your nervous system controls how many muscle fibers get recruited when you move. When you train consistently, it gets incredibly good at firing a huge amount of them all at once. Stop training, that rapid recruitment pattern just kind of fades. The muscle is still there, your body has just temporarily forgotten how to call on it effectively.
Let's actually map out this chronological descent, just to see how these effects compound over time. So that initial 2-week mark, it's actually a phenomenal recovery period. The muscle fibers you beat up in training are repairing. But as we keep moving forward, things definitely start to shift. At 10 to 12 days, your VO2 max drops. Hit 3 to 4 weeks, and measurable muscle loss finally begins. Fast forward to 3 months, and there's a massive gap in your strength and endurance. And by 1 full year, even standard movements are going to feel pretty awkward and stiff.
Let's zoom in on that 1-month mark for a second. By month 1, modest muscle loss does begin. Though if you've been training for years, your body resists this breakdown surprisingly well. Plus, the physical changes you're noticing in the mirror, that's mostly just water and glycogen leaving the tissue, which just makes your muscles look a bit flatter. It's not actually the tissue itself breaking down yet. But internally, your heart pumps less efficiently, lungs take in less oxygen, and the mitochondria inside your muscles fade. Basically, it's like your body downgraded to eco mode without telling you.
Now, if you try to jump right back into a hardcore workout at the 3-month mark, it gets incredibly uncomfortable. Why? Because your endurance dropped way, way faster than your actual physical strength. This is the part nobody ever warns you about. You might still be able to lift somewhat heavy, but doing a basic warm-up suddenly leaves you gasping for air. You literally feel like you're hauling around a massive sack of wet laundry. The gap between your past capabilities and your current reality feels, frankly, absolutely massive.
And what if life completely derails your routine and you hit that 1-year mark? Well, your power output absolutely tanks. You can lose up to half of your recent strength and size gains. And to make matters slightly worse, if you happen to be over 40, this detraining loss is compounded by the baseline 1% of muscle that you naturally lose per year anyway. The version of you that steps back into the gym after a year off is going to be seriously humbled. Lifts are way down, and you just feel stiff in places you never used to.
Okay, hearing all of this chronologically, it honestly sounds like an absolute disaster, doesn't it? It sounds like every drop of sweat, every early morning, and all your hard work is just gone, forever. Poof, erased by a busy year. But hold on, because here is where the story completely changes. Your body actually has a secret weapon that almost nobody talks about enough.
Ready for the massive biological plot twist? Meet your myonuclei. You can basically think of them as an elite cellular construction crew that allows your muscle cells to grow and produce proteins.
And here is the absolute magic of it all. Every single time you trained in the past, you recruited and collected more of these crew members inside your muscle cells. So, while your physical muscle tissue definitely shrank during your months away from the gym, this incredible cellular construction crew, they never left the site.
This is the absolute core truth of muscle memory. Your body keeps a permanent backup. Yes, the physical size of the muscle went down, but the blueprint of everything you built is securely, permanently stored. That entire cellular construction crew is still right there. They are literally hanging out on site for months, possibly even years, just waiting to go absolutely bananas with protein synthesis the exact moment you show up and lift a weight again. And guys, this isn't bro science, this is confirmed by over a decade of research.
What this means is you are practically never starting from zero. Your brain still perfectly remembers every clean rep and every set with good form, just like how you never really forget how to ride a bike or do a handstand, even if you're a little wobbly on the first try. And while your brain is sending out those familiar neurological signals, your cells are instantly reactivating the physiological machinery that was already in place. The roads are paved, you know? You just have to turn the lights back on. Which brings us to what we can call the comeback math. This is the number that truly matters. Regaining lost muscle takes roughly half the time it originally took you to build it. Just think about that. If it took you a full year of hard work to build up a really solid base, and then life happens and you spend 6 months completely detraining, you can get most of that muscle back in just 3 months of consistent training. Half the time. Your body wants to bounce back so much faster than you'd expect.
You did the hard part initially, right? And you earned this incredibly fast comeback window. But here is the tragedy of it all. So many people completely blow this opportunity. Why? Because they wander back into the gym after months away, totally confused about whether they should bulk, cut, or maintain, and they bring absolutely zero plan. They just start lifting, relying entirely on guesswork and honestly just going off vibes. And that is a massive mistake that completely wastes this hyper-responsive muscle memory phase.
To do this right, to really maximize your comeback, you need a highly structured program. Ditch the guesswork immediately. You want to use dynamic workout apps that build routines based specifically on your actual goals and the equipment you currently have. Crucially, as you log your workouts, these programs auto-adjust to your real current performance, not some generic template and definitely not the peak numbers you were hitting before your 6-month break. You show up, it tells you exactly what to do next based on today's reality, and you grow. It's that simple.
So the crucial takeaway from all of this science is beautifully summarized right here. Taking a break doesn't erase progress. It gives you a chance to reset and come back smarter. We've really got to stop letting the fear of losing gains prevent us from restarting. And equally, we need to stop letting it prevent us from taking a much-needed break in the first place. Training is a tool for your life. It's not a punishment. When you zoom out, a break is just a tiny little blip in your overall journey.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Knowing now with absolute scientific certainty that your physical gains are safely backed up at the cellular level by your myonuclei construction crew, how are you going to mentally approach your next vacation, or a nagging injury, or just a much-needed mental rest period from the gym? The blueprint is safe. The machinery is waiting for you. All you have to do is decide when you're ready to come back smarter. Catch you next time.